Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you're all having a fantastic week so far. In the past, I've posted videos about the process I have for storing and organizing my own personal pressed penny collection, and I've even gone over my process for how I prepare for an upcoming pressed penny vacation. And with all those videos, I get a lot of questions and comments from all of you. And first off, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to leave me all those comments. I truly appreciate it, and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. Now, among all those questions and comments, there is one that has come up more and more frequently that we haven't actually addressed yet here in any of our videos. Well, that is going to change in this week's video. We are going to go over a bunch of different methods and figure out which is the best way to clean your pressed pennies. A few days ago, I headed out to try and get a nice wide variety of pressed pennies to use in today's experiment, but I ran into a bit of a problem. Now, I ran over to Walt Disney World just because it's near my house, and I figured that was a quick and easy way for me to get a bunch of coins pressed. But as you'll see in the upcoming video, the machine I had planned to use actually earlier that day had been converted to one of those new preloaded machines, and I couldn't use my own coins. Thankfully, all was not lost, and nearby was one of the Disney resorts, which had a few of the older style machines. I hate to even use that term at this point, but they allowed me to still use my own pennies. Thankfully, I had a little bag filled with a bunch of dirty coins that I wanted to press for our experiment. So let's take a quick look at that adventure before we get into cleaning our pennies. All right, so I'm running out of places where I can actually use my own coins. I was just over at the Fantasia Gardens mini golf here at Walt Disney World. And of course, they just replaced the machine with the, they updated it to the new payment system with $1, and the machine supplies the coin. So can't use my own coin. So we're gonna head over, little quick walk to the beach club. And I'm hoping, they do have 3 machines there, so I'm hoping at least one of them still will let me use my own coins. But come on with me, let's go see what we can find. Well, as you can see, that took a little longer than I had anticipated, but I still think we got a nice variety of coins with varying degrees of dirt on them and should work out fine. But since we're going to be doing a bunch of experiments, I kind of feel like we should get into the proper attire. Well, this may be a bit much, but you know what they say, better safe than sorry. So let's grab our cleaning concoctions and start cleaning some pennies. In one of our previous videos, I mentioned that I primarily use BU copper pennies, which are brilliant uncirculated. So for the most part, they come nice and shiny. And the most dirty they get is having my fingerprint on them after I grab it out of the press. In those instances, I usually just grab a soft towel or cloth and gently rub off the fingerprint easily. Then I get it right into my 2x2 flips for storage, and I'm all done. However, sometimes it's just easier for us collectors to use circulated pennies, which can be in various stages of wear. I've seen some completely mucked up with gunk on it, while others are only slightly dirty. I feel that cleaning your pennies before you press them may be a bit more beneficial, and can help keep the machines clean by avoiding transferring that dirt from your pennies into the die of the machine. But for our purposes in this video, we're going to be cleaning pennies that I've already pressed. This is primarily because it's how I clean my own pennies for my collection, and no matter how clean your coins are before pressing them, the machines can still transfer some unwanted dirt or grease onto your pressed coins. As you can see, I've got a selection of both pre-1982 copper coins as well as some newer zinc pennies just for comparison. I tried to find ones that are similar in their amount of dirtiness, but there are a few in here that are really messed up, and I'm kind of curious to see how they turn out in the end. Also, behind each penny is the cleaning technique we'll be using for each one. Well, as you can see, we have quite a wide range of different products. We're going to try and see which works best in our little experiments here. Now, I scoured the internet looking for suggestions and even went into some of our Facebook group pages for suggestions and ideas from other collectors about what works best when they're trying to clean their own pennies. So some of these are going to seem very basic and others are a little strange, to be honest, but I am holding no preconceived judgment on any of these. We're just going to go through and see what works best today. Now, without any further ado, let's get things rolling and let's start cleaning some pennies. When I was researching many of these different cleaning methods, there really wasn't a lot of detail on how long to actually leave these items in the different cleaning agents. Some said as few as just a couple of minutes, others said overnight. So you know what, I figured let's go all in, and I gave these pennies overnight to ensure they really got a good, long cleaning. Alright, it's time. Let's see how we did with a closer look at our freshly cleaned pennies. As you can see, most of these actually worked out pretty well, and I'm kind of surprised, especially by some of the more out-of-the-box methods we just tried. Some are obviously better than others. However, here are a few interesting ones that actually seem to look worse than when we started. What could have caused this mystery? Was it just they were too dirty to clean? I don't think so, and we're going to get into that in just a sec. But here's a little tip of maybe what happened. These are actually zinc pennies. The answer to this mystery came from our friend Boomer over at one of our favorite websites, parkpennies.com. He gave a disclaimer to collectors when they are trying to clean zinc pennies. Cleaning zinc can be a bit problematic. Some of these methods, when used on zinc, can cause them to discolor and turn black due to the acid reacting to any of the exposed zinc. So how can you clean your zinc pennies? Well, Boomer suggests using a cloth to clean surface residue first, then use distilled vinegar with a Q-tip, then brush and rinse with deionized water or even zero water. But I will admit that zinc penny we used with the Brasso actually came out really nice, so that may be another option to try. Now, one thing you may notice is that a lot of these coins, even though we just finished cleaning them, now have a bit of a haze to them. You can use some metal polish to shine them back up, but I'm curious though. I do have that tumbler in my garage. I wonder if that would work to help shine them back up. You know what? I'll be right back. With help from a fellow collector, I received the tip about adding a capful of the Tarnex metal polish that we used earlier into the tumbler, and then I let it run with our pennies for another 8 hours overnight. Well, as you can see, these are not great. I mean, it's not bad, but definitely not as good as I was hoping for. I've only used this tumbler a few times, so it could very well be user error on my part. I may need to do a bit more research and try different cleaning materials inside the tumbler next time I use it. Now that we have our pennies nice and shiny, there is an optional final step. Oxidation will always be an issue. Some collectors prefer to use some sort of clear coat on their coins, which will help create a barrier to help keep those coins looking beautiful for a long time. Some options include using just standard nail polish clear coat, but some collectors do prefer to use a heavier product like a Krylon clear coat. If you decide to use the nail polish, just brush it on as evenly as possible. Our friend Joe Watts recommended starting at the grip notch, going straight down, then continue with each side of the coin. Let it dry for an hour, flip, and seal the reverse side. Krylon clear coat is like a spray paint. It does give a more even coat, but requires a more open workspace. I would definitely recommend doing this outside just to help with those fumes, because they can get pretty overwhelming if you're not careful. But I will say, the final look of this coin, it's looking pretty good. Obviously, I should mention results may vary, but hopefully this will help kind of narrow down some of these cleaning methods, and you can do your own test to come up with a preferred method that you can use on your own collection. Now, I will say, based on these different methods we tried in the before and after pictures we just saw, I really think the old standby method I've used for the longest time, just white vinegar and salt,
really did a fantastic job. But I was surprised by the A1 steak sauce and the sriracha. They were kind of wild card methods, but really came out fantastic. I was definitely surprised by those. And of course, the Brasso cleaner, as I said, it should be pretty easy to find at your local grocery store or convenience store, and it really wasn't too expensive. That really gave some fantastic results, not just on the copper penny, but also on the zinc without, tarnishing it or turning it black. So I think that's a really great method to use if you do have some zinc pennies laying around that need to be cleaned up. Now, one thing you may notice among the methods that really worked out well is they have an acid in them. So in case you don't have some of these options, if you find something else sitting in your cupboard that has some sort of an acid in it, that may also give you some great results, just kind of in lieu of having some of these other methods we tried today. Now, what method you choose may depend on cost or even just what you have available on hand when you're ready to start doing some cleaning. I'm sure a lot of us have a cabinet somewhere that's got a bottle of vinegar and some salt, or maybe you have some extra steak sauce or sriracha sitting in the fridge. Plus, if you're like me, you may just have a giant drawer filled with Taco Bell hot sauce. I mean, don't judge me. I know some of you out there also have a drawer filled with Taco Bell hot sauce. The one item I will say was a little bit of quite a bit of an investment was that tumbler. I bought it off of Amazon. The machine itself was $80, and then I got a 4-pound bag of the crushed walnut shells that went inside, and that was another $20. So it was a $100 investment, and just from the few runs I did during these experiments, I just don't think it was worth it. The outcome just wasn't great. But as I said earlier, I take full blame. I think it was user error. I just didn't do enough research to come up with some better methods to do the cleaning. So moving forward, I will definitely, obviously I'm not getting rid of the machine. I'm gonna try to use it again, but I think I'm just definitely gonna do a lot more research and check with some other collectors that have used this, and hopefully they can give me some tips to get some better results. And finally, I wanna put out another disclaimer. Be very careful when you're cleaning your zinc pennies that you don't use something with an acid. Either use Boomer's recommendation, or we'll see that Brasso I did mention a few times did a really fantastic job on that zinc penny. After all this, I honestly think I'm just going to stick with buying the BU or those pre-cleaned copper pennies. They do cost a little bit more, obviously, than face value, but they just come nice, bright and shiny and ready to press. And even if they do come out of the machine with a fingerprint smudge or a little bit of dirt and grease, we can then use one of these simpler methods to take care of that before we store it away in our collection. But it is nice to have some of these other options in our arsenal should we come across a pressed penny that's just a little more than slightly dirty. Now, this video was a huge project, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did even just a little bit, be sure to give us a thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. If you have a preferred cleaning method that we did not go over today, be sure to leave me a comment down below with all the details, and who knows, maybe we'll come up with a follow-up video sometime in the future going over all those different methods we didn't do today. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. We are always coming out with new videos to help you with your own personal pressed penny collections. And of course, we're always visiting the different Central Florida theme parks like Disney and Universal to help you with any of your squishing missions when you're in this area looking to press as many coins as possible. As always, thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic week. Keep on pressing and keep on cleaning. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.